Alright, in 14.2, we discuss inference for a two-way table. And in the first section of 14.2, we don't really get into the chi-square test that we're going to do in the later part of 14.2. All we're going to do is talk about what we're trying to show. So let's say that we had a question that we wanted to know if it mattered the age and which type of ice cream that you like. And so we're going to make the results of the survey right here for a moment. And we'll have chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry as the choices. And we'll do ages 5 to 9, 10 to 13, and 14 to 17. And each one, we got 25, 15, and 8, 32, 24, and 5, and 18, 18, and 9. So, just for the totals, we have 75 in here. It's 48 over here. 61. 45. 22. 57 right here. And as I total them both, I get 154. Now, just to make sure that everything works, I added both going down and going across to make sure I didn't miss any of the numbers. Write these down because we're going to continue to use them. So if I just measure the 5 to 9 year olds, I would have seen 52% went for the chocolate, 31% went for the vanilla, and 17% went for the strawberry. In the 10 to 13 age group, it was 52% for the chocolate, and 39% for the vanilla, and 8% for the strawberry. And in the 14 to 17 year old group, 38% went for the chocolate, 38% went for the vanilla, and 19% went for the strawberry. So if I just make it a quick little bar graph, and we'll do the black group is 5 to 9, the blue group is 10 to 13, and the red group is 14 to 17. Alright, in group 1, let me go back, this is 50%. Group 1 was 51%. Group 2 had 52%. And Group 3 had 38%. Alright, Alright, I made a mistake over here. This isn't supposed to be Group 1. This is supposed to be chocolate. Blue is vanilla, and red is strawberry. My apologies. So, that's why we do math in pencil and not in unerasable online writing. So in group 2, vanilla was 31%. And 39%, and in the last one we had 38%. And finally, the strawberry, we had 17%, 8%, and 19%. So the question becomes, these bar graphs are very similar. The chocolate normally wins out, the strawberry comes in last place, and the vanilla, except in the last group, tied to chocolate, normally comes somewhere in the middle. So the question is, were their choices really different, or were they pretty much the same? And that's a question we're not going to get into necessarily today, but these look very similar, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that age group doesn't necessarily pick which kind of ice cream you like the best. And we'll come back to these exact same numbers when we do the chi-square test. We could use the chi-squared goodness of fit test in order to do these problems where we may have used P combined as our parameters for all three, and then we would have had to do 3 chi-squared tests. One for each population. However, when you run into problems where you have multiple comparisons, you have to generally do 2 things. One is an overall test to see if there is good evidence for the parameters. And after you do that, then you need a detailed follow-up to compare all of the tests you just did for each population. So that's why we have a different chi-square test to deal with two-way tables. So the table that we had was a 3x3 table, because we had 3 age groups for rows and by 3 age groups, not age groups, 3 types of ice creams. Rows by columns. When talking about this, we always start with our populations. In this case, we have 3. Population number 1, kids ages 5 to 9. Population number 2, kids ages 10 to 13. And our population number 3 is kids ages 14 to 17. Also, when we do our chi-squared tests, we need to figure out the expected cell counts. Now, our expected cell counts is going to be row total times column total divided by table total. Give you a second to write that down. And so in the first expected count for the first row I'll do row 1 right here. I have 48 times 75 divided by 154. 48 times 57 divided by 154. And finally 48 times 22 divided by 154. So our first row would have 23.4, 17.8, and 6.9. If you notice, these three numbers add up to be 48.1. They should have added up to be 48, but of course, every once in a while we run into this normal rounding error. And you also notice that all three of these numbers are not whole numbers, and that's okay because normally our expected values are not going to be whole numbers. So here's going to be our expected counts. So here's my chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, 5 to 9, 10 to 13, 14 to 17. So the ones I had were 23.4, 17.8, and 6.9. Now you should try it for the second two rows on your own, and I'll put down the answers here of 29.7, 22.6, and 8.7, 21.9, 16.7, and finally 6.4. And those are my expected values for these three rows in this example. We will go ahead and do the test next time around, but that's it for now. Thank you.